Enter the world of Ultima Online. It's more than a fantasy, because it really exists. It's more than a game, because it never ends. And it's a giant leap beyond anything you've ever seen before. To begin, create your own character and choose your appearance. Play whatever role you want, from wizard to warrior, or bard to barkeep. We invite you, and several thousand of your closest friends, to live, quest, fight, love, or hate in a fully persistent world, where every action you take affects the lives of others. Who will you be? What will you do? Where will you travel? Ultima Online. Go beyond life as you know it, to an adventure more incredible than you can imagine. Ultima Online.
So what exactly is an MMORPG? An MMORPG is a massive multiplayer online role-playing game, a genre that was coined by the legendary Richard Garriott, also known as Lord British, a true pioneer of the gaming world and goat of the genre.
Origin digs into EA's deep pockets and begins working on a new installment of Ultima that has a twist.
All the time we've been creating these solo player games, we've always gone, wouldn't it be great if my buddy could come with me too?
The boys at Origin put the game to the test.
So we actually put up on our website, we said, hey, anybody that wants to come beta test, we want you to pay us $5 to send you a disc for the privilege of beta testing. And we had 50,000 people send us $5. Oh my gosh, we were right. We've hit on something really big.
MMORPGs are virtual worlds where thousands of players across the globe can come together to interact within a vibrant and persistent online world. In these games, players craft characters, embark on epic quests, and engage in various activities. In many ways, the early MMORPGs were mimics of the real world with fantastical high fantasy settings.
The roots.
The MMORPG genre evolved from multi-user dungeons, or MUDs, of the 90s, which interestingly enough are still around today. These games took the PC gaming scene by storm, and I vividly remember my introduction to this in 1998 when my uncle gifted me a copy of Ultima Online. For me, these expansive virtual worlds became a sanctuary. As a young kid, I hadn't yet fully developed my social skills, and MMORPGs provided a platform for engaging in online social activities and working collaboratively with others. These experiences helped shape the person I am today and equip me with valuable leadership skills. MMORPGs are meant to be massive, a fact that seems to have been overlooked in recent times. Many modern games labeled as MMORPGs are essentially glorified lobby games, departing from the genre's roots. Back in the day, the very idea of a soloable MMORPG would have been met with laughter. Why log in when you could simply just play a single-player RPG? Especially back then when JRPGs were huge. How could you best the dragons of Dastard by yourself, or traverse the tunnels of Guk with its dangerous frogmen alone? MMORPGs by design were originally made to force player interaction via difficulty of many of these encounters and tasks. This always added a layer of love to the genre and created many a friendship, some that have lasted till this day for decades. Games like Ultima Online promoted guilds and alliances to survive the cutthroat PvP environment. EverQuest pushed players to engage with each other pretty much all around due to just the overall difficulty of the game and how punishing it was to die. Vanilla WoW featured elite quests which practically mandated cooperation. Not to mention, Dark Age of Camelot had realm versus realm battles, which was sort of like the main endgame content. In essence, the early MMORPGs, or virtual worlds as I like to refer to them, thrived on sociability. Virtual communities, player-driven economies, emerging gameplay, social dynamics, and role-playing were all crucial elements that defined what an MMORPG was in their nascent years. Picture this, it's 1999, the school bell is just rung, and you and your best friend high-five each other before rushing to your lockers to grab your skateboards. Your mission? to hop online with your friends and stalk the city of Vesper's graveyard as the RP Road Bandit clan that you are. Lord of the Rings is at the pinnacle of popularity, the prequels are on the horizon, and life is sweet. Oh, and let's not forget about those Burger King cheesy shake bag fries. They need to make a comeback. Whether your journey began with Ultima Online, EverQuest, or Asheron's Call, it was an enchanting era. These games offered vast and immersive worlds with sprawling continents, diverse landscapes, and hidden dungeons to explore. The sense of adventure was palpable, akin to what we now find in modern Souls-like games. Ultima Online was the catalyst, followed by Lineage's introduction to the Korean market in 1998. The late 90s saw the rise of EverQuest and Asheron's Call, while the early 2000s welcomed Phantasy Star Online from Sega, Dark Age of Camelot, and the birth of RuneScape, among many others. The MMORPG market boomed, with games like Final Fantasy XI, Ashen Empires, and MapleStory from Japan making their mark. The granddaddies of the genre, like UO and EverQuest, reported staggering subscription numbers, with UO boasting over 250,000 subscribers upon the Age of Shadows expansion release in 2003, and EverQuest hitting over 500,000 around the same time with their launch of Legacy of Yakesha. To put these numbers into perspective, in 2023, a combined 750,000 players might be seen as a quote-unquote dead game. Back then, online video gaming was still in its infancy, and PC gaming was niche compared to consoles like GameCube or PS2. The term gamer wasn't even a thing yet. Subscribing to a video game was unprecedented, paving the way for today's subscription-based services for TV, audiobooks, regular books, and more. At the time, the concept of a subscription was pretty much just regulated to magazines, newspapers, and gym memberships.
The drums of war thunder once again.
World of Warcraft took everything that EverQuest did right, polished it with Blizzard's trademark charm, and set the world on fire. By 2005, it had over 5 million subscribers. I remember this time when, as an MMORPG enthusiast, my circle of friends gradually shifted from Ultima Online and EverQuest to World of Warcraft. It became a cultural phenomenon, with memes like Leroy Jenkins
Oh my god, he just ran in.
joining the ranks of all your base art belong to us. World of Warcraft on release was the epitome of a virtual world MMORPG. It combined polished systems, instanced dungeons, non-punitive PvP where all you lost was time, and standardized the tab target systems most MMOs still use today. RP and community were as vibrant as in a sandbox title, like UO, while keeping all the social elements that made EverQuest great. However, World of Warcraft's blockbuster success would come at a cost. It flooded the market with clones.
Begun. The Clone War as.
In December 2007, the merger of Vivendi Games and Activision created Activision Blizzard, marking a shift as passionate developers who created the IPs we loved were slowly being replaced by corporate suits. These suits would go on to turn Blizzard Entertainment into one of the most controversial gaming companies in the history of the industry, all led by gaming's biggest goblin himself, Bobby Kotick.
There has been a lot of controversy surrounding Activision's workplace culture. How do you respond to that?
Look, like any large company with 16,000 employees, we're going to have some instances of workplace discrimination or harassment. We're fortunate
that female employees, they are subjected to sex discrimination, unlawful sexual harassment, retaliation, and unequal pay. According to the complaint, female employees make up around 20% of the company's workforce. They're subjected to what is described as pervasive frat boy culture. For example, so-called cube crawls, in which male employees apparently drink a lot of alcohol as they crawl through their way through the cubicles, often engaging in inappropriate behavior toward female employees.
Warning, if you are unable to accept the reality of the next statement, please cry about it in the comments to boost my engagement.
Anyway, back to the matter at hand. WoW's success led to a slew of direct clones, including Warhammer Online, Rift, Aeon, Lord of the Rings Online, Guild Wars 2, Star Wars The Old Republic, Neverwinter, and Final Fantasy XIV. These games borrowed WoW's formula, combat, and polish, differing primarily in aesthetics, while maintaining borderline identical gameplay loops. Aside from Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy XIV, both of which evolved, listened to, and developed around while also supporting their player bases, most of these games are now dead or defunct. This market saturation wasn't sustainable, and the bubble was bound to burst. The hyper-monetization of the industry. Monetization played a significant role in the overall decline of the MMORPG market. Free-to-play was starting to become a new trend to pull in players, and companies were beginning to realize with microtransactions, you didn't need 5 million people to pay $15 a month if you could find 5,000 people willing to pay $15,000. Concepts of pay-to-win were quickly approaching and killing almost every MMO they touched. Arcade and Aeon's deaths have been attributed to pay-to-win by many of their respective communities. To ensure the long-term survival of an MMORPG, especially a virtual world, consistency is key. World of Warcraft managed this well during its first 3 expansions, which is why you see them rehashed again in the classic editions. Then Cataclysm happened. While people attribute many things to the stark drop in subscription numbers that came with Cataclysm, one thing I never really see brought up is monetization. Wrath of the Lich King's Deluxe Edition back in the day came with a trading card game deck, an art book, and an in-game pet. Cataclysms came with a mount, the Winged Guardian even. But it didn't stop there. Cataclysm would launch mounts and pets for money in the Blizzard Store, which previously only offered server transfer and race change services. The Celestial Steed and the ridiculously big and ugly Heart of the Aspects were 2 super popular ones at the time. With pets like Lil XT and Lil Ragnaros, both former in-game raid bosses, only being available as a microtransaction on top of your monthly subscription. The wildest part about this is at the time, World of Warcraft was still one of the most profitable games in the world. It wasn't even dethroned by Minecraft yet in popularity. This approach, while highly profitable, marked a shift in the industry. The rest of the market, which was pretty much in full Clone Wars mode at this point, followed suit. In-game stores and microtransactions became a normalcy, even in MMORPGs that asked for monthly subscriptions, which previously, before this point, were considered safe havens away from the free-to-play MMORPGs, which often had intrusive in-game shops. Wildly famous streamer and addict Goblin Asmongold is known for his criticism of adding store mounts and how it cheapens the overall experience of the game.
So I ask him, first thing I'm, typing on computer, I'm all like, where did you get the golden mount? The coolest mount in the fucking game. Like I'm on Invincible and I feel because of some guy who's on this other mount, and then I go and I learn, I get on MMO Champion, and you know what it tells me? $25. $25 for the best fucking mount in the game. Okay? The best mount in the fucking game, like, and let's just be real here, is, you know what it does? Look, let me show you guys what it does. Let me find something. Alright. Steaks, no, this is too big. Salt, okay? Alright, here's the mount. Flying around, right? Flying around, because it can do that. Okay? Mount special, look what it does. Woo! Woo! This is the coolest thing ever, but it does a little circle. Look. Oh god.
The evolution of gaming.
Gaming was evolving rapidly and becoming fast-paced. Instant gratification and game design based around ping-ponging fireworks in your brain was taken front and stage rather than more old-school methodical game design. Add the clones to the mix and technology evolving as well, and tap-target combat, the thing WoW revolutionized the genre with in 2004, had already become stale by 2014, and that was almost a decade ago. Younger kids were turning to Minecraft instead of MMOs, and Battle Royale games were preparing to eat up a ton of the gaming sphere. MMORPGs, a genre that was once known for being living, breathing, sociable worlds that forced teamwork and commitment, were eroding into lobby-based games to keep up with a market that wasn't built around the same game design concepts. Couple that with the absolute lack of innovation in the MMORPG market post-World of Warcraft's release, and what reason would any new player have to pick up an old-school MMORPG over a brand new shiny game that just came out and is fluent and modern in gameplay mechanics? In business and innovation, nobody wants to be first, because being first means you have to take risks, while being second is always more profitable.
Nobody wants to be the first one. Nobody! No one wants to go out there and open the show and set the bar.
This is why the WoW clones existed in the first place. And this is why WoW existed in the first place. And this is why the gaming market is absolutely saturated with Battle Royals as I make this video in 2023. And we're seeing the same exact thing with Genshin Impact clones as well. Every MMORPG on the market right now, even the ones doing incredibly well like Final Fantasy XIV, Elder Scrolls Online, and World of Warcraft, all feel incredibly dated. New World is a rough gem of a blank canvas that I truly hope Amazon keeps funding and providing development for, as we really need innovation like New Worlds in this genre before the genre itself dies. MMORPGs are culture. As I grow older and I play less and less, my Discord messages still go off from friends I made in these virtual worlds decades ago. People I met as a teenager in the late 90s and early 2000s have me as a friend on Facebook and regularly keep in touch. Shows like The Guild by Felicia Day, animes like Dot Hack, Overlord, and Sword Art Online, to the Canadian film E-Hero or the Steven Spielberg directed Ready Player One, all are odes to the culture created by MMORPGs. The future may look bleak for the MMORPG market, with not many interesting titles upon the horizon. Games like Ashes of the Creation and Pantheon Rise of the Fallen seek to bring the MMO market back to its glory days by returning game design philosophy to what MMORPGs were originally meant to be, before shifting into lobby games. It's gotten to the point the MMORPG community argues semantics, with people like Nerdslayer arguing MMORPG versus MORPG, and a lot of the Final Fantasy XIV community bringing forward concepts of RPG MMO or JRPG first, MMO second. Truly, what the market really needs is innovation. With us just at the baby level of VR technology, could you imagine the future of MMORPGs in a VR setting? We are already seeing the beginnings of this with Zenith Online, a fantastic game I highly recommend, by the way. The future of VR MMORPGs could be insane, even to the levels of Sword Art Online, minus the dying part. In closing, even if we were to combine the player bases of the top 5 MMORPGs today, including WoW, they wouldn't match WoW's peak subscription numbers. MMORPGs are more than games. They're cultural phenomena, and their legacies live on. The future may be uncertain, but as long as there are players yearning to find immersive virtual worlds, the MMORPG genre will endure, adapting and evolving to meet the demands of a changing gaming landscape. We can only hope those brave enough to make innovational leaps aren't afraid of taking risks and being first. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, or smash that button I should say, like all the other YouTubers, since apparently I'm a YouTuber now. Thank you.